Frozen is a 2013 Disney animated film directed by Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee. Based on the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, Frozen is the story of two sisters, Elsa and Anna. Elsa was born with the magical ability to create ice and snow from pure will, but her lack of control sometimes lets loose her magic unexpectedly and is taught to stay away from the public eye. Elsa and Anna's parents die tragically, leaving two sisters alone. On the day that Elsa is crowned Queen of Arendelle, Anna meets and suddenly decides to marry a man named Hans. Elsa is upset by this rash decision, and her powers are revealed in front of a crowd. She escapes the kingdom and accidentally sends her land into a deep winter. Anna enlists the help of a man named Kristoff. Anna and Elsa reunite in a palace made of ice, but Elsa accidentally hurts her sister, leaving her slowly freezing. Hans is revealed only to be interested in Anna as a means to take over her kingdom. Elsa and Anna save each other through the power of love. Kristoff and Anna appear to be at the beginning of a relationship, Arendelle is saved, and the people accept Elsa for who she is. Also, there is a talking snowman. Frozen is often praised for its soundtrack, most notably Let It Go and Do You Want to Build a Snowman, but it is the first song that is most useful to the narrative. Frozen Heart, a song sung by men working on the ice, actually reveals the entire plot of the film, foreshadowing future events. The song appears to simply be about ice, but it is actually about Elsa. Born of cold and winter air and mountain rain combining. This line reveals what the parents say to the trolls about Elsa, that she was born this way. This icy force, both foul and fair, has a frozen heart worth mining. This explains that the key to breaking the spell and saving the sisters is love. The solution to the main conflict of the film is in this line. Watch your step, let it go. This is about the two stages of Elsa's development. The first is watch your step. In the film, Elsa is taught to conceal, don't feel. Then, let it go. The first song actually foreshadows another song. This is the second stage in her development. Frozen presents itself both as a fairy tale adaptation and also a subversion of the classic fairy tale by taking certain tropes like love at first sight and the flawless prince and twisting them. Not as far as to add too much cynicism to a Disney feature, but more like a slight dose of reality and critical thinking about important life decisions. Before diving into this, an understanding of the importance of fairy tales and folklore may be necessary. Folklore consists of legends, music, local beliefs, and superstitions related to stories. Folklore is cultural, specific to region, and because of this, it tells us a lot about the general mood and feeling about a particular culture during various periods of time. In other words, history books tell us about the wars and politics of a nation, but a region's folklore tells us about popular culture and popular beliefs of its time. It's just as important in understanding a culture as memorizing a list of kings in a dynasty is to understanding history. Folklore does not exist in a vacuum, though. It does not only tell us about one period of time, because oral stories, and eventually written stories, influence later writings and later beliefs. Also, folklore is sometimes retranslated and then changed when it passes among differing cultures. Noting the differences and variations of folk stories can shed light on differences between nations and regions. Fairy tales are a subsection of folklore. They are short stories that usually feature European fantasy characters like elves, trolls, and witches. Disney and other popular children's entertainment has conditioned us to think of fairy tales as innocent, but many stories contained graphic violence and sex. Fairy tales are only thought harmless in modern times. In the Disney version of Sleeping Beauty, for example, the prince awakens Aurora by kissing her. In the 1634 version, he rapes her. Dark elements are common in fairy tales. Keeping them tame is a fairly new concept. Frozen certainly does not bring fairy tales back to its darker roots, of course. It simply deconstructs elements present in both centuries-old fairy tales and previous Disney adaptations. One trope that is common in both the older versions and Disney versions of a fairy tale is that of love at first sight, the idea that one can instantly fall in love with someone and know with certainty that this person is their perfect match. Fairy tale characters have sudden engagements and marriages, long before knowing enough about each other and whether or not the couple would be compatible for a lifelong commitment.
Can I say something crazy? Will you marry me?
Can I say something even crazier? Yes!
This is reinforced later when the trolls insist that Anna and Kristoff marry shortly after meeting. Anna and Kristoff both refuse. In addition to this, the film presents the idea of perfect and pure love as unlikely, and that real love is complicated and always will present hurdles. Of this, co-director Chris Buck has said, quote, I always envisioned, when I was pitching it, that there was romantic love, which Hans represents, candy and roses and everything's perfect. Then there's Kristoff, who represents real love, where everything's a little bit messier. It is crazy to marry someone immediately after meeting, and Frozen makes that clear by showing Hans to be not what he seemed in the beginning of the film. That leads us to another fairy tale trope, the perfect prince. Popular fairy tales like Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and Snow White all contain a charming prince with little to no personality or characteristics outside of being dashing and willing to rescue the female protagonist. When complaints are lodged against the bland portrayal of Prince Eric in Disney's The Little Mermaid, it should be noted that Eric is, comparatively, vibrant and three-dimensional next to most Prince Charming stock characters. In Frozen, Hans is the prince, but it is revealed that he does not actually love Anna. He only wants her for her kingdom.
Oh, Anna. If only there was someone out there who loved you.
What?
Although villainous, Hans is also far more interesting than the vast majority of fairy tale princes and Disney princes. The writers of Frozen subvert the Disney formula in another way as well, the villain song. Most musicals from the Disney Renaissance onward have a formula for their songs, the I Want song for the protagonist, the love song, and the always popular villain song. Often, the villain song is the most memorable in the film. In Frozen, throughout the majority of the film, it seems as though the villain song is suspiciously missing, that is, until Hans reveals his evil plan. Only then, looking back, the audience realizes that Love is an Open Door, seemingly the love song, is actually the villain song. It's Hans' only musical number in the film, and it shows him fooling Anna into believing they are exactly alike. It also has a hint at his true intentions. When he sings the line, I've been searching my whole life to find my own place, he looks out the window at the kingdom of Arendelle, suggesting his plan to take over her home. The inclusion of Hans as the surprise villain caught the ire of some critics who believed that it would be too much to take for the young audience of the film, but such a standpoint ignores 2 points. First, children are tough and have endured far more frightening twists of fate from Disney in the past, the deaths of Bambi's mother and Mufasa as examples. Second, Disney villains have become less and less obvious and diabolical over time, giving youngsters important lessons about who to trust. Not everyone calls themselves a sea witch. Some of life's antagonists will be revered and popular. Some will be widely accepted authority figures, even religious. Learning not to always trust a pretty face with a few sweet words is something we can all learn. Frozen also rids us of talking, intelligent animals. Magical creatures talk. Snowmen, trolls, they talk. Sven the reindeer does not, and the directors say this was a conscious choice to separate magic from reality. Kristoff speaks to his reindeer and gives Sven a voice only in his own mind because, well, animals don't talk, and the actual magic of the film would be undercut by everyday magic of talking animals.
You sacrificed yourself for me? I love you.
An act of true love will thaw a frozen heart.
Next, let's look at Frozen as a feminist picture. Right away, just from the visuals and the basic origins of the main characters, the film has some problems in that area. Like the vast majority of Disney princesses, they are rich, white, and sometimes uncomfortably thin. Their very existence appears exclusionary. Also, the females in the film are given wide, almost childlike eyes compared to the normal-ish male eyes. Then again, this is an animated film. All film is a visual medium and tells its story through images. Animated films perhaps more than live action. Characters are often going to be, well, pretty. Admittedly, that's not a great defense of it, but the point is that Disney films focus on cute more than realistic, and this has more to do with the medium and the target audience of children rather than systemic sexism. Writer and co-director of the film Jennifer Lee explained, quote, "The Disney style has been honed for generations. The bigger eyes are how you draw the audience in. You want the characters to feel alive." Unquote. Maybe that doesn't excuse everything, but it at least explains it. In general, Frozen is a step forward in female representation in Disney animated films. Elsa and Anna display agency in ways that not every Disney princess has in the past. Elsa is, in light of her gifts, arguably the most powerful protagonist in Disney animated film history. Of course, a strong female character does not have to be literally strong, as in the ability to inflict punishment. That would be a little silly. Strong also means someone with conviction, compassion, and other positive traits. Anna starts off naive, but living a lonely life with limited familial ties will do that. As the story progresses, Anna has agency, a purpose. There are men in Anna's life, but nobody is more important than her sister. And in the end, the sisters save each other rather than a male love interest like in Sleeping Beauty and The Little Mermaid.
The only frozen heart around here is yours.
Empowerment can be tricky in film. What one calls empowering, someone else would call insulting. But not making the effort, not trying to push the boundaries, is far more dangerous. Moving on, let's discuss the subtext of homosexuality and being closeted in Frozen. The film's subtext is barely subtext at all. Not that it's barely there, of course. Rather, the opposite. It's practically just text. It leaps off the screen. Of this, co-director Jennifer Lee half confirms this, but remains only slightly coy. Quote, "We know what we made, but at the same time, I feel like once we hand the film over, it belongs to the world. So I don't like to say anything, and let the fans talk. I think it's up to them. Disney films were made in different eras, different times, and we celebrate them all for different reasons. But this one was made in 2013, and it's going to have a 2013 point of view." Unquote. Let's look into each aspect of the film step by step and sort this out. Frozen is all about a young girl, Elsa, who was born different. Her difference is defined as not being something that happened, but simply a matter of being born that way. Her parents confirm this to the trolls. They teach Elsa, conceal, don't feel. After all, what would the neighbors say? Admittedly, this is also for Elsa's protection, and her parents do truly love her, but they are ultimately proven wrong about Elsa. Concealing who she is causes problems. It turns out that love is the only way to balance herself out. She is different, she locks her doors, sings a coming out song, accepts love, and only then does she become a balanced and happy person.
Love will thaw.
Love.
Of course.
Elsa?
Love.
The idea of being closeted comes up quite a bit in Frozen. Not only in the figurative sense of Elsa concealing her true nature for fear of being shamed by her people. No, literal hiding behind a door. Actual closeting. Elsa hides behind a locked door so that even her sister cannot see her. To further connect what lies behind the door being love, Anna sings "Love is an Open Door" at a party. During the reprise of For the First Time Ever, Anna sings "Please Don't Slam the Door." She wants Elsa to come home and make the people understand that her being different is not a curse.
I never see you anymore. Come out the door.
We don't have to feel it anymore. Love is an open door.
Please don't shut me out again. Please don't slam the door.
In addition to the main thread of the story, there is also the inclusion of an effeminate shopkeeper named Oaken. In a scene that if someone blinked it was missed, he references his family and waves to them. The only other adult is a muscular male, suggesting that he is Oaken's partner. One could argue that this is not definitively said outright, but that appears to be the implication. The idea that Disney did this by accident is a little naive. Disney is very deliberate in what it does. The Snow Queen, the fairy tale upon which Frozen is based, was written by Hans Christian Andersen. It is widely believed that Andersen was bisexual. One of his other notable fairy tales, The Little Mermaid, is allegorical about his love of another man. The Snow Queen is only distantly related to the story of Frozen, but the screenwriters clearly connected their film to Hans Christian Andersen. The antagonist is even named Hans. The creators of Frozen wanted the author recognized in this film, more than in any previous Disney animated feature.
Prince Hans of the Southern Isles.
Princess Anna of Arendelle.
Princess? My lady.
Disney's animated fairy tales have a complicated history with LGBT themes and coding. On one hand, characters like Scar and Jafar appear to be coded gay, and whether or not this was intentional, the reasons for these characters to be males with effeminate characteristics as villains comes from systemic problems in our society with the idea of being straight and male as an idealized standard, and the idea of being the other as something to be feared. On the other hand, Disney has an otherwise strong relationship with the LGBT community. On a company-wide level, gay pride events have been hosted at Disney World since 1991. Also, the company started offering its gay employees health insurance benefits for their partners since 1995, which was not common for its time. The company's tolerant atmosphere can be seen in its tribute to lyricist Howard Ashman, who was openly gay and died of AIDS in 1991. Ashman wrote songs and was involved in the productions of The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. At the end of the latter film, Disney acknowledged him. "To our friend Howard Ashman, who gave a mermaid her voice and a beast his soul, we will be forever grateful." Ashman's life, as well as his hardships, are reflected in his films. The Little Mermaid's gay origins were referenced earlier, but The Beauty and the Beast was said to be his personal story by some, that of being gay and suffering with AIDS. The Beast is banished from society, his body transformed, all while his life has become as fragile as a withering rose. Disney animated pictures typically feature a be yourself message of tolerance and acceptance, everything from Aladdin to Dumbo. Disney Renaissance films particularly show protagonists rejecting their parents' suggestions for love interests. Ariel wants to marry a human, Jasmine turns away her various suitors, Belle rejects Gaston, the most beloved man in town. Pocahontas has no real interest in the warrior that her father wants her to marry, and Mulan, though some effort is made, is not meant for traditional matchmaking. The point of all of this is that Frozen's noticeable gay undercurrent should not be denied simply because it's a Disney movie. The topic is brought up and someone shouts that everyone is seeing something that isn't there, but the fact is it's been there. It's been there in Disney films and in the atmosphere of the company for a long time. It's just a lot more overt and present in Frozen. It should also be noted that seeing Frozen with a queer reading of the text does not invalidate other interpretations or how to watch it. The film has gained praise among parents of autistic children, for example. And that's great. Some just see it as a wonderful musical with incredible computer animation, and that's great too. It can be all of these things, why not? The film has an inclusive message, not a message of excluding. So by the general feel of the film, one should accept other positive interpretations of the film. And the movie is better and more layered and more meaningful and more important because of it. Thanks for watching.